All right.
Week 4 in the National Football League World of Matchups, bringing you guys the heat every week with my boy Spencer, who is on the other side of the glass, breaking down every game against the spread for your face. Spencer, what's going on?
Nothing much. Ready for football tomorrow. Ready for a hopefully a resurgence for the Raiders, but I'm holding my breath, as you might imagine.
Raiders are horrible. Raiders are horrible.
Last week, man.
They're horrible. Let's get started, man. Enough of those bums. 6:30 a.m. start. The London game. The Falcons head over the pond to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love the Jaguars in this, and I love the Jaguars in this big. I told everyone last week that would listen that the Jags would be upset by the Houston Texans. Everyone laughed at me, and that's exactly what happened. I've watched games like this happen before. The emergence of C.J. Stroud is undeniable, and now a pissed-off Jaguars team who has a very good defense, might I add, flies over to London to take on Atlanta, who cannot score, okay? They just refuse to use Kyle Pitts. I know they have a good run game, but you're going to have to score points versus a very angry Trevor Lawrence-led team. Doug Peterson's a Super Bowl winning coach. I think this is just going to be too much for them to overcome if they're down big. How are they going to come back? Atlanta is one of those teams that really only plays well at home. So I'm taking Jacksonville here. I'm looking for Calvin Ridley. I'm looking for Christian Kirk. I'm looking for them to really get the ball running again with Travis Etienne. And I see a 5 to 7 point W for Jacksonville. Duval.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Falcons is just the reality is going to start setting in like sooner rather than later. And, last week was it's just, I don't know, man. Desmond Ridder is just not it. I think it's time for Taylor Heineke. And I think the longer they drag this on, the worse their season's going to get. I have nothing personally against the kid, but I mean, come on. I mean, it's getting to the point where, it looks like the kid can't throw a ball. Looks like they're playing college football out there, a lot of the times. Kyle Pitts is always wide open, and that's frustrating. And Doug Peterson, I think, is going to have these guys ready for this week. For some reason, the Jaguars just can't beat the Texans. It's a very bizarre phenomenon. It doesn't matter the year, what's going on. And I always forget that. They legitimately cannot, beat them. It's just been so long now. Disappointment after disappointment. The Jaguars are obviously used to going to London. It feels like it should be a home game
every year
because it's always them. So there's a lot of familiarity, and the Falcons, I don't think, have it. I don't know if they've ever been to London. I don't remember. But all I know is that the Jaguars are always there. So it's not like it's going to be a big detriment to them having to go across the world to play this game. So I really love the Jaguars in this one.
Yeah, I love Jacksonville. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a rout. Next. Terrible Towels and the Pittsburgh Steelers, -3. They're traveling to Houston Texans. I'm going to tell you going in the door right now, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are disgusting. I watched that entire game last week versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Is there a more boring vanilla offense in the league than the Pittsburgh Steelers? 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Kenny Pickett, to me, has regressed. He is not a good NFL starting quarterback. He might be a backup at best. To me, Najee Harris is an absolute stiff this year. He is a bum. And I think this could be the week that you see Jaylen Warren go from 50-50 split to maybe having some breakout here and taking over the starting spot. All that being said, I went with Houston last week on the road, and they covered for me. They won outright, and I'm going to take them again here. I know the Steelers' defense is good. I know Fitzpatrick is good. But that team just does not galvanize me at all. Deontay Johnson is out. I know George Pickens is amazing, but can they really get him the ball? Calvin Austin's a rookie. I know they got the move. They do have good players, and they have great coaching. That's what they do have in their back pocket versus DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans. But like I always say and will continue to say, home dogs pay dividends in this league, man. And I think C.J. Stroud – I think the Texans are better than people think. I think C.J. Stroud is a good starting caliber NFL quarterback. He's a rookie. And he only gets better and better every week. This is going to be a huge test for them, but I'm going to take those 3 points because I just didn't like what I saw last week in prime time from Pittsburgh. Even though they won the game on the bones of their defense. And Vegas sucks, man. They are a horrific team with terrible coaching. So I cannot take them back-to-back weeks. But I do think this might be the week where some real questions are answered for Pittsburgh about their running game because Najee Harris is just not it. But the play for me is Houston +3.
This is a close one, and I don't know. Yeah, the Steelers just haven't looked impressive at any one point this season, and I don't know if they're going to get it together. It's going to be hard without Deontay Johnson. I don't know. I think rookie quarterbacks just aren't going to fare very well against the Steelers this year. I think that they can just make enough turnovers, and Kenny Pickett can, fumble them back into the end of the end zone, enough times to make it happen. So
this is a Dameon Pierce game.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one, but this is a game that I'm just kind of staying clear of, to be honest with you, completely. It's kind of a boring game. It doesn't excite anybody. So I'll take the Steelers. I think they're just going to make enough plays defensively. I feel like they're just going to take advantage of a rookie team, a young team, and that'll just be the end of it. The Steelers just kind of keep fumbling along here until they face a real team.
Yeah, they're just not good, though. I don't know. They did not impress me at all. I can't remember a game where I saw a team impress me so poorly and still win. My God, Vegas is horrendous. Rams, they head to Indy, INDY, to take on the Colts. Colts -1. The return of Rook, a Rich. I like Anthony Richardson. I like him a lot, and I think that the Colts win this game. The Rams look absolutely helpless on Monday night versus Cincinnati, and I loved the Rams last week, and they were in it for a minute, man, but boy, Stafford just stunk it up. Cincinnati defense might be better than advertised, but they just did not look good. I didn't get what I needed from Puka Nacua. I think they're just kind of holding on for Cooper Kupp to get back, honestly. And I think that they're going to run into a buzzsaw here because every win that Indy has had, Anthony Richardson has scored a touchdown. He's the new Cam Newton of the National Football League. And despite having Aaron Donald on the other side of that defense, you're going to give me at home only -1. They have a good special teams and good corners, which is going to take Matt Stafford right out of the game. They're going to take a blueprint from what they saw Monday night. You minus the short week for the Rams and on the road. I think this is a resounding win somehow. I don't know how, but it's going to be a resounding win for Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts. Take them with confidence. This is a good bet.
Yeah, wow. You're going to zig. I'm going to zag here. I think that the Rams piece it together. I feel like they're getting so close and just something like keeps them short, but they had a very tough schedule to start the season, and they played a very desperate Bengals team. I think those things are all factors. The Colts are just kind of playing with house money in a sense. Like, you don't really think they're going to do anything at any point in the year. And the Rams desperately need a win. So I like the desperation factor here. The Colts aren't a great team, and I know they beat the Ravens last week, but
told you
both agree that we don't. Yeah, that was our best call last week.
Told you, but, Ravens are frauds.
I don't think the Ravens are that good. So I don't know. It was just a bizarre football game, to be honest, from start to finish in that Colts game, and I don't know. I just think the Rams are a much better team overall. I don't think Matt Stafford has been bad, but it's just like at that little end, they just need a little bit more, and I could see them getting it together this week. So I like the Rams in this one. I'm gonna go against you here.
Nice. I like when we disagree. It makes for good sports journalism and broadcasting. Next, the 0-3 Purple People Eaters travel to the 0-3 Carolina Panthers in the Zero Bowl. They're -4.5. I'm telling you right here, going in the door, the Vikings are going to roll this team. There is no worse offensive line in the National Football League than the Carolina Panthers. And Bryce Young is coming off an ankle injury at home. This guy has looked absolutely mid. I don't know how this guy went first overall. Y'all laughed at me when I told you C.J. Stroud should have been #1 overall. I think that the Vikings roll here. The Vikings offense has to get this together. I see a lot of T.J. Hawkinson. I see a lot of Jay Jettas. They're going to go nuts. Kirk Cousins is having a nice season. They just don't protect him. Both offensive lines are absolute dog. They're like hot dog water. Both of them are terrible. But the stronger offense here is clearly the Vikings. And when you have to think about the secondary of the Panthers, as good as they are, even without J.C. Horn, I still think it just won't be enough because they can't score, man. You know what I mean? They can't score. I mean, Hunter Henry, Adam Thielen, I don't know. These names don't galvanize me in 2023. And dude, the Vikings won 13 games last year with this same team. Come on, stop it. I'll take a touchdown on the road. I think they're going to win this game easily. It would not shock me if they blow this Carolina team out. Carolina is disgusting. Take the Purple People Eaters, lay the 4.5 and stop being scared.
Yeah, I feel like that's the way it should go, but the Vikings seem to defy all odds and anything that you could possibly imagine because they can't hold on to the football. Carolina's got a very good defense, and at the very least, I'm going to go against it. I'm going to say Bryce Young gets his first win of the year. It looks like he's going to play, at least from the reports that I saw. And like the Vikings defense just doesn't do anything for me. And I think that Bryce can have a decent enough game. I really, truly believe that the Vikings are going to have so many turnovers in this game, like Brian Burns, a strip sack, and then, like an interception here and there. I feel like that's all they really need because, thinking back to that Carolina Saints game, that was like Carolina's game for the taking at like 15 different points.
They gave it away.
They couldn't do it, but the Saints defense is very good. So now when I think that the Saints or the Vikings are at the same amount of turnovers as they did in that game. But I also think that Carolina's going to have an easier time scoring. So when I think of those two things together, I really think that Carolina can win this. This is going to be a very interesting week. We seem to have very different opinions on what's going to happen. So I'm going to take Carolina. I say they get their first win of the season. I say Bryce Young gets his first win as a rookie here in the NFL.
I think they get their shit pushed in. Next, Bucks head to who dat? And the Jameis Winston-led Saints, who are returning Alvin Kamara off suspension. Derek Carr is hurt. In comes Winston. Lattimore versus Evans. Rocky versus Clubber. You know what to expect after all the blows are thrown. We still have to play a football game. I'm going to take the Saints based off defense alone. The Saints always, always, always play this team tough, even when Brady was there. I remember one of the best calls I've ever had in my entire life as a World of Matchups host was Saints as home dogs versus the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think it continues. The Buccaneers looked absolutely disgusting on Monday night after I took them and told the world that they would cover. They got absolutely murked, and so now I can't take them on the road. I think having Winston is a downgrade for Kamara and company, but I think it will still be enough just on the bones of their defense. Baker Mayfield comes back to earth. Chris Godwin has been very mid, and so if Lattimore does what he needs to do against Evans, where's the ball going to go? I don't like Rashad White in this game at all versus that massive front four. I see Cam Jordan all over Baker Mayfield, and I think this is an easy Saints home W. Take the Saints minus the points and go to Sizzler.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Saints home game. The Saints have just had such a soft schedule to start their season, and obviously the benefit of that is just playing in a very bad division. That's why Tom Brady, I feel like that's a big factor why Tom Brady went there. It's like, I don't have to worry about the regular season. These guys are fumbling over themselves, and I don't know. Baker Mayfield's looked all right. He's definitely had a pretty decent season. I had a pretty good call there saying that, they come back down to earth a little bit, and they did. And I tend to just kind of agree with you in that this is just really the ugly bowl. I don't think anything's going to jump out of the page on this game. It's just going to be a Saints, 3 and outs here, 3 and outs there, maybe a pick to throw in there. And, you'll go out of this game at 16-10, and then we'll just call it a day. It just seems like those kinds of games. Yeah, because I don't think Baker Mayfield can play above the level or the Saints defenses. They're just playing great this season. Yeah. And I think you'll see that here. Like, Baker Mayfield is just okay, right? Like, he'll beat the okay teams. He's good enough to do that. But as soon as he plays like a top 10 defense, just Baker Mayfield just looks.
He's sus, man. In a big spot, he's totally completely suspect. But I think I like the Saints too. Next, my surprise bet for the week, and you can laugh now but cry later. The Washington Commanders, they fly to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. They are -9. The Eagles are, and I'm telling you right now, after that deplorable display of JV football, getting their faces kicked in versus the Buffalo Bills in their building, Eric Bieniemy is going to have this offense ready to do what they need to do. And look back to last year when the Eagles took their first loss. Where was it? It was at Lincoln Financial versus the Redskins on Monday night. They won that game outright, and they have the same team to do so because they run the ball well and they'll play good defense. The Eagles are just coming off a humongous beatdown at the hands of the Tampa Bay, all over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now they're going to be feeling themselves and feeling good. I think they're going to let up and take this team a little lightly because they just got stomped. 9 is too much. If it was 7, I would take the Eagles. 9 is too much. They can run the ball in Washington, and they can chew clock in Washington. And let's be honest, folks, Jalen Hurts has not looked great. He has not looked the part of a $200 trillion quarterback. I'm sorry. Makes mistakes, throws the ball all over the place. If he is not running the ball consistently, which they're not really doing for him right now, they're trying to make him a pocket passer if you've watched these games. They're forcing him to try to be something he's not. Same thing with Lamar. Let these guys be what got them paid. But no, you want to turn them into pocket passers? I think it's a mistake, and I'm going to take Washington plus that 9 points, and I am going to eat a hero because that is a good bet. 9 points is a lot versus anybody, especially versus a team in your own division that plays good defense and can run the ball and chew clock. This is the Brian Robinson game. You heard it here first.
Yeah, dude. So one of us is going to be very correct and one of us is going to be very wrong this week. I love the Eagles. I think the Sam Howell experiment is going to crumble very quickly. There's just something about it, that week one success, a little bit of juice, and I don't know. It looked so bad last week. And looking at this Eagles defense, I can just see Jalen Carter, just completely dominating this game. You think they would run the football, but the front four for the Eagles, that's one of their strong suits. I think, this is in Philadelphia. I think as soon as one turnover happens with Sam Howell, I think he crumbles like a cookie. So I'm not afraid. I definitely think this is at least a 10-point game. It could be a lot more. The Eagles played a really weird game in weather last week, and I think they'll be really excited to be back home. I think they'll be, really pumped up for the fans. And I just don't think the Commanders are a good football team. I think they have talented players. I think they're a lot like the Raiders, where they have some very talented top-end players. The rest of the team is just filled out by a bunch of nobodies. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say the Eagles -9 is a great bet here at home. I think they're going to blow them out of the water. I think Sam Howell is a horrible, horrible game again 2 weeks in a row.
Next, Miami Dolphins, the class of the AFC right now.
Man.
Heading to Orchard Park to take on the Buffalo Bills. Bills -2.5. I like the Dolphins going in. I'm going to take the Dolphins, I've decided, until I start seeing them fall apart because they are firing on all cylinders. Tua's looking like an MVP candidate. I don't trust the Bills anywhere. Even when they win, I still don't trust the Bills. I've seen teams go there and win. That home field advantage is not what people make it out to be. I think the Dolphins' defense, albeit without Jalen Ramsey, is still very slept on and underrated. They're just not getting their flowers. Look how they're winning these games. They're doing it in every facet of football. And until I see something different happen, I can't jump on it. DeMar Hamlin's going to play. Jordan Poorier's out. DeMar Hamlin sucks, guys. Enough of this feel-good nonsense, man. They're going to go they're going to go right at this guy. If DeMar Hamlin was anyone else, he would have been released. I'll stand on that. 10 toes down, I'll stand on that. And so I like Mostert. I like the resurgence of Mostert. Hill, Waddle is back. You already know about Tua. Mike McDaniels is playing chess when all these other coaches are playing checkers. And then to top it off, you're going to give me 2.5? Come on, son. Fall back with that nonsense. I love Miami here. Buffalo hasn't done anything to – Buffalo does not beat good teams. They do not beat good teams. What was the last really resounding good win they had versus a very good team? I'll wait. Because no one can tell me. The Commanders, like you said, suck. That's not a good win. You saw what happened when they played the Jets. They're not a winning ball club. They're at the door, and they're going to keep on knocking, but no one's going to let them in. I will take Miami plus the 2.5 all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Isn't the Sunday night game the Jets and Chiefs?
Yeah.
Yeah, this should be the Sunday night game. I'm looking down the list.
Well, they thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be playing.
Yeah, I thought they could flex these games. I don't know, though. But in any case, this is a good one. Really, I have no idea what's going to happen. The Bills have had two just really bad teams back-to-back. The Raiders and Commanders, I think, are going to end up stinking by the end of the season. So it's kind of weird. But they did take care of business, and we've seen them be very lackadaisical against some of the lesser opponents, especially last year. They're not doing that this season. I think they had a big wake-up call in Week 1. And to be honest with you, Week 1 is such a wash in the NFL, in my opinion. It's just so many random things happen. I tend to think the Bills are probably making their final push because this really does feel like their last season where, they can make a Super Bowl run. Yeah, these are just two of the hottest teams in the NFL, to be honest with you. Whoever they play doesn't really matter. They blew them out back-to-back weeks, and their defense looked dominant. But, yeah, I mean, Jordan Poyer's out. I feel like every time the Bills play the Dolphins, we talk about how Jordan Poyer is out for some reason.
Guy's stealing money. He's always hurt.
This is
Micah Hyde. They're always hurt these guys.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. I just think that Jordan Poyer not being there is just such a huge thing. But they're
going to pick on DeMar Hamlin, bro. They're going to pick on him.
I really think that's what puts it over the top for me. I want to take the Bills, but just that injury is so bad. But Tyreek Hill just looks unguardable right now. It really is. I just cannot.
It's matchup proof.
There's a part of me that wants to take the Bills, but then I think, who is going to stop Tyreek Hill? And then I think there's nobody in the league who can do that.
Have you ever seen a home field advantage be so not home field advantage? That's the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, unless you get into December. So until I see the Dolphins look unguardable, which hasn't happened one time this season, I have to stick with the Bills every week. It's just over a long-term strategy, it's going to work out for you, So I'm going to take the Dolphins here, but anything can happen. But I just don't think the Dolphins can be stopped right now on offense.
Dolphins scored 70 points last week. You're going to give me 2.5?
To be honest with you, I'm thinking about it, and the NFL season is almost writing itself. There are teams that just look literally better than the rest of the league, like the 49ers, the Dolphins. There's all these middling teams, and then you look at these guys, and it's no one can figure out what these guys are doing. And the Eagles too, I guess you can say they've been it's the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Dolphins, and the 49ers. These teams are operating on a different level than these other mid-range teams. It's crazy.
They're the cream of the crop, man, and two of those four going to the Super Bowl. This is factual information. Next, who day at touchdown Titans? Joe Burrow takes the mitten off, gets somebody, tapes his calf together, and they put together a nice win. Jamar Chase looked good on Monday night. They did what they had to do to win that game. Defense is better than advertised. We both took the Titans last week, and they both shit the bed. I am not going anywhere near the Titans this week. And I think Cincinnati goes in there. If they get right, they're back on the horse now, and I think they destroy this team. I'm sorry. Ryan Tannehill sucks. I gave you everything you needed last week to show up, and you stunk up the joint versus a bad Cleveland team. I think they are getting it together, full practice for Burrow. T. Higgins hasn't even hit his stride yet. Look out what Joe Mixon's starting to get mixed in pretty well. I think it is an easy win, -2.5. I know it's on the road. It doesn't matter to me. If you can't score, you cannot win. Cincinnati is a Super Bowl caliber team. When healthy, they are getting healthy. Lay the 2.5, and do not be scared to do so.
Is this not one of the weeks where the Titans we say
I'm done with
the get a big win, and then the next week they're a terrible football team. They're going.
I'm done with the Titans. That defense Monday night looked good enough for me to think that they can hold Derrick Henry in check.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you on this one, and that just basically proves to me that the Titans are going to have their best game of the season.
Titans are going to win this game by 30. Watch.
I would be shocked, but that's what that seems to be what the Titans do. But I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to say the Bengals go ahead and take care of business. I think the Bengals are starting to catch their stride a little bit. I do have to give credit to Joe Burrow because I genuinely believe that he wasn't going to play in that IR.
Me too.
Right around the corner, but
he gutted that out.
Good game, against the Rams.
He played
nothing
smart.
over the top, but he made the right plays. He got them down the field. He scored
quick
enough
throws.
Yeah. So
hats off to Burrow, man. I'm not a Burrow fan, but I'm a football fan first, and I tell you, he showed me some heart, which is not something I've seen from him or any of those other Cincinnati bums. Nice win, and I like them again this week. I think they're going to inch their way back into the conversation because honestly, they belong there. That defense showed me something. I was very surprised because I love the Rams.
Isn't as good as everyone makes it out.
Division is absolute trash, dude. They're going to be at the top of that division.
The only thing interesting about that division is when they play each other.
Yeah, that's it. Ravens head to the Brownies. Browns -1.5. This is probably my least favorite game of the week. I think Lamar is mid. I think Deshaun is trash. Deshaun Watson finally had his first good game in a Browns uniform. Yeah. I know, Nick Chubb is out, but it looks like Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt will be doing what they need to do. This is a rivalry game. This is a 13-10 final, no matter how you cut it. I just don't like what Baltimore is putting down this year. I'm telling you, I've told you guys a million times, and I'm going to not stop saying it. Lamar, to me, is a very overrated quarterback. Lamar has stolen all the money. And there's not much else there. OBJ is out. Rashad Bateman is out. I mean, they're going to double Mark Andrews. And who's out there? Who's your running back? I mean, Gus Edwards? Come on, man. Stop with the nonsense. Stop it. These two teams hate each other. The Browns defense has still got Myles Garrett. They're still very good. I'm taking the Browns here, man. It's only 1.5. field goal wins this game. I just don't think that when you pay these quarterbacks, not named Mahomes, the money that you've paid them, that you're going to get that similar production that you were getting before you paid them, i.e. Joe Burrow, i.e., Jalen Hurts. It's just, dude, there's only one player in the National Football League that's ever going to be worth that money, and he wears this color right here. And so I'm taking Cleveland, and I'm taking them with confidence. I just don't trust Baltimore anywhere. And I told you guys last week, anyone that would listen, that Indianapolis was going to find a way to win that game. And I thought they were going to just cover. And they found a way to win that game with freaking Gardner Minshew in your building. That is a disgusting loss. I cannot, with any kind of confidence, take the Baltimore Ravens here. And I think they choked this one away as well.
Yeah, I think this is a blowout win. The more I think about it, there's so many injuries for the Ravens. I don't like what they're doing. I think they took just the low-hanging fruit approach to the offseason. It was a mess from the start, and I just think that loss to the Colts is just going to catapult the downfall of this team, where it's like, okay, we're going to make, first of all, they spent 90% of the offseason appeasing their quarterback. They get Odell Beckham, who stinks. He's just not good. He's already hurt. He'll probably be in and out of the lineup all season long. They won't let Zay Flowers run a route past the 10-yard marker, which makes no sense at all. There's always screen passes. It's always out routes. I just think they pieced it together too fast and too loose, where DeAndre Hopkins would have been a much better option. If they were messing around, they wouldn't.
He sucks too.
Instead, they get the guy. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins at least has had a very positive impact on his team. Odell Beckham, I think, has one pass catch this year and an injury. And the Browns silently are having a historically good defensive season. I mean, it's not being talked about too much. No, I think they've given up 8 first downs this season, in total. It's crazy what they're doing right now. And I think that when you add that together with one of the most stale offenses in the NFL and the Ravens, that's just a recipe for disaster.
House money.
It just looks like a mirrored image of the Titans game last week. Again, the most stale offense you could ever think of. The most vanilla, run the ball twice, try to get a
can't score
first down, and if you can't score, that's enough.
You can't win.
That's how good their defense is. I really think so.
Lamar's laughing all the way to the bank, man. Next, Broncos versus Bears. Broncos, after getting 70, hung on them, which I enjoyed every point that was scored. They go to Chicago, Chicago's having a rough time too, man. Boy, 0-3 versus 0. I mean, these teams are bad. My God, they're so bad. And they're so bad. I think the Broncos win this game. After losing 70-20, there's something that happens inside that locker room where you're just going to play for pride, honestly. And the Bears are no world beaters. Kansas City took them apart. Literally, the game was over after the first 10 minutes. I think the Broncos defense is better than advertised. When I look at a game like this, I just have to take whoever's the better coach. Sean Payton is the better coach. Jerry Jeudy is full practice. Cortland Sutton is full practice. Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine should do enough to beat this bad Bears team, who quietly, I think, is about to move off Justin Fields and find whoever will take him off their hands and go after Caleb Williams. Once you start losing 4, 5, 6 in a row, at that point, you're not trying to win. And especially when Arizona upset Dallas that week, now that puts them in the driver's seat to go out and acquire a player like Caleb. Now, his first-round picks are no guarantees, i.e. Bryce Young, but you have to do something. And they're not going to fire these guys in season. They're going to wait till the season's over, and then they're going to clean house and go after this guy. So, all these different details, I think that you're just going to find the Broncos, who have a better pedigree. They've got winning seasons. They've got rings. They should find their way into winning this game, and I think they should do it pretty handily. 3 to me is not enough. The Bears stink. They stink. 31-14, 31-21. Take Denver all day, man.
Yeah, I was just so on this all offseason when it came to the Bears, and everyone was so excited, and it just something was so off to me about it, in that they felt like they could build a complete team in one offseason.
Can't.
Like they wasted a lot of resources. Pick and choose your battles, man. This isn't Madden. You can't just make a bunch of trades. You can't just pick up any big name on free agency and expect it to come together. Yeah, I think that Justin Fields is gone before Matt Eberflus, but I don't even think Eberflus is too far behind. They'll probably keep him around for one more season. It just wasn't a good hire from the start.
Horrible. No one we both laughed at it when it happened.
This guy wasn't on anybody's radar, I feel like, and I talked
Eric
about
Bieniemy should be the coach of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields dons a new uniform next year. I think that, someone does a buy low, you chuck a third or a fourth round pick at the Bears, they can get off of them. They put the whole message out. Thank you, Justin. Good luck on your next trip. We failed you. I can already see it now. This kind of PR stuff writes itself.
Rams,
or there's probably tons
Tampa.
Through Tampa Bay, anybody who can dangle this in front of their fan base, like, look, the Bears are bad, right? This guy is the next truth.
Justin Fields is good, man. He's just in a bad spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, I think Broncos are probably just going to play really hard because what happened between the Bears and Chiefs was bad, but nothing is 70 points.
70 points, dude.
It's hard to do in video games, man.
That's Golden State versus the Lakers. Stop it. Stop. You're gonna come, dude. When someone hangs that kind of a loss on you, you come back and you play the next game like it's your last game. I don't see how the Bears win this game at all. I really don't.
But it'll be gross to watch, that's for sure.
Disgusting. Yeah, I won't be watching it. Next, The absolutely disgusting Vegas Raiders. They go to SoFi to take on the Chargers, who finally got their first win. Chargers -5.5. I'm going to tell you going into the door right now, we have to talk about Justin Herbert as being an MVP candidate. That was the first time I really saw him go win the game. Even though the Vikings did everything they could to gift wrap it, they still got that dub, and that was a good win for him. And he's a good quarterback, man. He's a social media quarterback. He's the top 5 quarterback, but he's not necessarily, in my mind, a winner. Not yet. Not yet. But these kind of games are the kinds of games that you have to win in your building versus bad teams and string together a bunch of wins in a row, and all of a sudden your team has got a shot to make the playoffs. Now, will Eckler play? Not so sure. Limited practice all week. Mike Williams, every year goes out, and sure enough, on cue, torn ACL, he's gone. In comes Josh Palmer. In comes Quentin Johnson. I think they still have enough to beat the Raiders. Devontae Adams is very unhappy. And look, if you take Devontae Adams off the Raiders, they're a high school team. The Raiders are not good. Jimmy G in concussion protocol. No one knows who's even going to start that game. Josh Jacobs had the season of his life last year. He's very mid right now. Hunter Renfro's on a milk box. How do the Chargers not win this game by 10 points in their own building? I don't know, but I'm going to lay the points here because the Chargers are clearly the better team. The Raiders are they're dissension personified. That was a Steeler home game on Sunday night. It's an absolute abomination what Allegiant Stadium is. It's just a profit turner. There is no home field advantage. There's no pride, commitment to excrement. Forget excellence. This team is horrific. Chandler Jones needs mental help. It's bad. Bad. And honestly, if I'm the Raiders, I'm not trying to win a game. I want to throw my hat into the Caleb Williams sweepstakes because you need a franchise quarterback. Enough of piecing these quarterbacks together. Jimmy G sucks. He sucks. He's Derek Carr again. It's the same thing. Can you imagine Jalen Carter in silver and black? Can you imagine Christian Gonzalez in silver and black? Where's Tyree? Where is this guy that you guys told me was going to be so great? Horrendous pick. I'm telling you right now, Chargers they're my lock of the week. Lock of the week. I cannot see a world where they lose this game. They're just better than the Raiders, and the Raiders aren't very good. Take the Chargers -5 and eat a pizza.
Yeah, I have a lot to say. As a Raiders fan, there's just so much going on around the franchise. And I'll start with Josh McDaniels in that I always thought that, great offensive mind. Still is. This guy's able to scheme Devontae Adams open for 1 billion touchdowns. And he did it last week too. So I have no doubt in his ability to do that. And the one thing I said coming into the season, and the most important thing is, all I need to do is just see this guy make better in-game decisions. And it just didn't happen last week. So I don't know if I've been the #1 defender of Josh McDaniels, but
he's horrible.
There's just fans that are so, I don't know. It's just so matter of fact, he's the worst coach ever. I'm he's really not. If you really take a look at it, I was I just hope to see some improvements from his coaching decisions this year. I was really let down. Jimmy G has been really bad this year, but I'm not ready to overreact going into week 4. You know, it's just, there's 17 games. He's on a new team. It's really hard to keep going. He's had the connection with Devontae Adams, and that's a good thing. The Hunter Renfrow thing is a little bit bizarre for sure, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I doubt it. I don't know. There's just a lot of speculation, but I feel like if Jimmy G doesn't play, it's definitely going to be Aiden O'Connell, and I'd rather see Aiden O'Connell than Jimmy G this week. You know, let him take the week off, because the Raiders do need to know, I believe this kid could be pretty good, AOC, and we won't know that. You know, you don't want to tank the season and then potentially have this guy on the bench that might be pretty good as a starter, potentially in the right system. And that'd be bad, to have 2 guys on your roster, right? If you draft a quarterback, you're obviously going to play him. You're not going to play AOC ever again. So at that point, it's just a wasted draft pick. The one thing I do want to say about Tyree Wilson is that it really is unfair what's happening to him. This is a guy who needed a season to develop. They use him as a long-term goal, because if he reaches his potential, you're going to have 2 great bookends, 2 young bookends. Right? Max Crosby's only been in the league, a handful of years. He was supposed to play a year behind, Chandler Jones and get in every once in a while. And because this guy's a lunatic, he's been catapulted into the starting lineup that he wasn't ready for. And I think Raiders fans, first of all, are some of the worst fans in the NFL by far. There are people, there are people who are jumping ship from the Raiders fan base. And I'm like, I watched Matt McGloin play on national television in Thanksgiving. Unironically started Matt McGloin. How is this year the year that you're going to jump ship? There's been much work. We used to juggle between Jason Campbell and Bruce Gronkowski at halftime almost on a weekly basis. But this is the season where it's too bad. It's such nonsense. Raiders fans are some of the dumbest people in the fan bases in the world. I'm not kidding you. I hate a lot of Raiders fans. I think they're the worst fan base. Anybody who jumps ship from their favorite team, by the way, is a horrible fan. I don't care which way you piece it together. If you're not here for the worst times, that means you're literally not a fan of the team. You only want to see success. Go watch the Patriots or something then for your entire life. Sometimes your franchises aren't going to be good every single season. It's just dumb to think that way. I'm a Raiders fan. I don't care if Brian Hoyer starts on Sunday. I'm going to sit my ass down on the couch and I'm going to watch the Raiders play on Sunday because I love the football. I love the Raiders franchise and I'm going to follow them for the rest of my life. Whether or not they're bad, I have no influence over. And that's always the funniest part is you'll talk to a Raiders fan. They'll act like you're the GM of the team. Brother, I'm just a fan of the team. I'm going to watch them on Sunday regardless. I didn't make the game plan. I'm not the GM. I can't make any trades. It is what it is. But I don't know what's going to happen, man. I would just hope to see Aiden O'Connell. If Aiden O'Connell plays, I like the juice of it because I think that nobody knows anything about them. They're not going to game plan. And I think it's a big smoke screen, the Brian Hoyer stuff. There's no way they start him on Sunday if Jimmy G can't play. I don't know. I'll take the Raiders. I just think that the Chargers fumble over themselves. You're like, this is the week where the Chargers start stringing wins together. When was the last time that happened ever? I mean, the Chargers are known for fumbling these kinds of games throughout franchise history. The whole thing I used to joke about with my friend is that Phillip Rivers is always down 1 score with 2 minutes left in the game, and Justin Herbert has picked up that identity right up. So it looks like it's more of a Chargers thing than it is the guys around their team. Again, another insane roster for the Chargers and a lot of disappointing losses. They lost. They won that game last week against the Vikings by default. They were both trying to lose that game for each other. And I don't know. I just think the Raiders have a little bit more juice this week, especially if Jimmy G plays. I'll take the Raiders.
All right. Raider fans have spoken. Pats, they fly to Dallas, take on the Cowboys. Cowboys -6. I think the Cowboys cover this easy. After being embarrassed on the road, they come home, they get healthy. Patriots don't really offer me much here. I'm not a believer in Mac Jones or anyone else on that team. Touchdown wins. I mean, I know Dak sucks, but you're supposed to be in the Super Bowl conversation with that defense. You got embarrassed to a horrible team last week. You should come back, lick your wounds, get right. I'm not going to say too much about this. I'll lay the 6 with Dallas and roll.
Oh, man, Dallas just looked so bad last week, but it may just be more of a thing that Arizona is a lot better than when you give them credit for. And we all thought they'd be the worst team in the league. And that one time this season have they looked incompetent. They had the big comeback loss, from the Giants. But even in that game, it's not like they looked terrible. They went out to a really big lead, and they dominated Dallas last week. I think Dak Prescott just stinks. I really, truly do think that Dak Prescott will not be in a Dallas uniform for the next 2 years. I mean, I just look at this guy. He looks like Derek Carr. As soon as you get into the red zone, the guy can't play football. It's just it's a consistent thing between the two of them. And we'll see. I mean, I know Mac Jones is the greatest thing ever. This is going to be a low-scoring affair to me. It's going to be really gross and just kind of the Patriots game every single week. But what's the spread in this game?
6.
I'll
take 6.
I'll take the points in this game. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I just think it's going to be a defensive battle. I think Dak Prescott's going to have a really bad turnover in this game. I don't know. I don't think the Patriots are going to win necessarily, but I could see it being a field goal game at the end, and everybody goes home after that.
I'll take Dallas off a bad loss. Next, Cardinals. They fly into San Fran to take on the Niners. Niners minus 14. I'm going to take the Cardinals to backdoor that 14. Niners have looked strong. They've looked good, really good, but Debo is questionable. And like you just said, there hasn't been one point this year where I've seen Arizona really look like the most incompetent team in the National Football League. They play hard, man, and they're the backdoor kings of the National Football League. 14 to me is way too much. I think they find a way to stay in this game. I'm not so sure that the Arizona Cardinals are tanking. I'm really not. So I'm going to get that 14 in my back pocket and pull and pray here. I think a special teams touchdown, pick, some kind of fumble, a turnover. I mean, I know the Niners have looked really strong, but are they going to look like this all year? It seems like once every game, some big-name player on that team is out. And that turns into points for the other team. Arizona plus 14 is the play.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think there's too much to talk about in this game in terms of like we're pretty sure. Like I feel very confident that the 49ers are going to win.
Give me those 14.
Feels like the game wants to be closer to 10 or 11. So
yeah.
I'll take the 2 touchdowns, and the Cardinals are like on every teaser I have this week.
Yep,
so.
I like them a lot. Sunday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs, my team, head to New York. I'm not going to waste too much time on this game either. It's minus 8.5. The Chiefs are going to cover this, and I think they're going to cover it with ease. I know that Jaylen Brown whatever his name, Jalen something. I can't remember his name right now. Excuse me. And he's going to be out. Nick Bolton is out again. Jalen Watson, excuse me. So those are huge losses. But Zach Wilson's the quarterback of the New York Jets. Fireman Ed's calling for his name. Joe Namath is taking shots. Coach is defending him. The locker room it's dissension personified. Aaron Rodgers from his hospital bed is taking shots. And, Taylor Swift's going to be in the house. I mean, this is a circus, man. This has become a huge money grab. They thought that this was going to be a really good game between 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and now it's turned into an absolute effing joke. Chiefs should steamroll this team. I know that the Jets defense is good, and it is, but the Chiefs will just have too much on offense to really make this much of a game. 31-21, even if the Jets get a couple lucky breaks here, they should cover this 8.5 easy. Zach Wilson stinks. And the Chiefs defense, y'all better start giving my defense its flowers, man. I don't know what it's going to take for y'all to wake up and realize the Chiefs right now have a top 5 defense. Now, will they have it all year? I don't know. But, boy, they're getting a Menahew back soon, and they got defensive players who are out, and they're still rolling teams. They're rolling bad teams, but they're still rolling them. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Week 1 was an aberration. You had no Kelsey. You had no Chris Jones. I'm chalking that up to just the preseason game. They lost that game. All right. The Lions didn't win the game. The Chiefs lost that game. They played horrible. And if they catch one ball, they win that game. So stop with the nonsense about the Chiefs are in trouble. They are not in trouble. They're going to destroy Gang Green on Sunday Night Football. And then you are going to see them finally do something about Zach Wilson. They'll bring somebody in, not named Colin Kaepernick, and they will go from there. Chiefs, easy money. That's my second best bet of the week.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I understand that this, franchise drafted Zach Wilson, so they felt some sort of like need to protect him. But sometimes you're just wrong. Sometimes you just don't get it right. There's no guarantees in the draft, no matter how much scouting you do. And when you're wrong, you just have to admit it. I think it's really starting to get to this Jets locker room 2 years in a row. Yep. You roll this guy out there, he can't do anything. Like, he just sucks. He's just not good.
He's a boy. He's not a man. He's a boy. They need a leader.
Yeah, he's not going to be in the NFL super long. I can see 3 more seasons for Zach
Wilson. Best thing about Zach Williams, he's got a hot mom. Next.
Yeah, I don't like it, man.
Next. Final game of the slate. Seattle flies across country. They're -2, home to the Giants. Like I said a couple weeks ago, New York is the king of holding L's right now. If they're not flooding, if freaking looting. It's not looting. Forget it, man. One thing after another. And in New York and back-to-back nights, that home team is going to lose at home versus teams who are clearly better. I don't care about the flight. I don't care about the points. Daniel Jones sucks. He's the most overpaid athlete in all of sports. Darren Waller is consistently hurt. No Saquon Barkley. -2 is an easy Seattle win for me. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball some more. Sprinkle in a little DK, sprinkle in a little Tyler Lockett. Geno Smith is more than capable. I just have no trust for the New York Giants. I don't care who they have beaten this year. It doesn't matter to me. Even in their losses, even in their wins, they've looked absolutely pedestrian. I cannot get on this bandwagon. They looked horrendous. They overachieved all last year. They were an overachieving team of the NFL season in 2022, and so they paid Daniel Jones off that and what they think he was going to be, and he is going to be a thief. That's what he's going to be. Offensive line is mid. Defense is mid. Special teams is trash. They got a million wide receivers. None of them do anything. I am taking Seattle here, and I'm taking them with confidence.
Yeah, I agree with you. Andrew Thomas was just listed as out. And Saquon Barkley is limping to the finish line to get to this game. Just has all the wrong pieces to it.
You're a dummy if you take the Giants here.
I don't know. I just like thinking about Daniel Jones. It's just like if you don't have a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, which Daniel Jones is not, I feel like you don't have a quarterback and you're just wasting your time. Yep. And you're not paying. Like Daniel Jones isn't making as much as the top 3 quarterbacks, but it's similar enough to where it's just a waste.
Daniel Jones making $40 million is like me making $40 million.
Like the thing, like when I watch the Raiders play and Jimmy G stinks, it's like, all right, I paid this guy like what, $15 million a year or whatever it is. Most of it was converted. It's not even going against the cap. I can take it. It's fine because I can justify. I'm like, well, this guy's not even on the hook for that long. They can get rid of him next year and no one will know the difference. And then I look over at the Giants, who are almost in a similar situation in terms of quarterback play, and they're paying that guy $40 million a year.
It's crazy to me.
It's just insane. It was just a rash decision, by the Giants. I feel like they could have let him go and never knew the difference.
Exactly. That's another team that should tank and get a decent quarterback. Big Blue's going to be.
They can't do it now because they can't
do it now. Jesus, what a mess. Hold this L, New York, back-to-back nights. Big Blue will be black and blue after Monday Night Football. That's the Slate, guys. World of Matchups for Week 4. Bringing the heat, as always. Like, subscribe. We appreciate all the love. You guys enjoy Week 4. Me and Spencer will be back next week, dropping Week 5 as the season rolls on. Have a good week, everyone.
Go Raiders.